Hello everyone, George DeSantis here with the look at the market for the week ending Friday, March 26th, 2021. Uh, Before we go any further, let me bring up a disclaimer, and as we usually do, and be sure to take a look at it and be advised that I'm not an investment advisor or professional investment advisor. So I'm a psychologist and I do this for my own purposes, and you can do with it what you will. It is not an attempt to give any particular person investment advice. It's educational, as we usually say. Uh, Now we're going to start looking at the market. What I usually do approximately once a week, although I haven't done one of these since the 12th, I think it was 3 weeks, 2 weeks ago. Um, we usually take a look at the S&P, perhaps also the Qs, the Nasdaq, and then we go on to take a look at some individual stocks and some other charts concerning the S&P and that sort of thing. So let's begin by bringing up a weekly chart of the S&P 500. So here's a weekly chart of the S&P 500, and one of the things I like to do is to start with the moving averages, and you can see that the 4 exponential moving average is still above the 9 exponential moving average, and that is above the 30 weighted moving average. So insofar as moving averages are concerned, we still have an uptrend. And by the way, that uptrend has started on this weekly chart way back here, way back on May 8th, okay, of last year, because the 4 remained above the 9, the 9 above the 30, all the way up. It touched it here, but the 4 touched the 9 here, but it remained all the way above. The 9 remained above the 30 for all of this period of time here. So we still have an uptrend. What else is an indication of an uptrend? Well, we still have parabolic below the most recent bar. This is the most recent bar. Parabolic is below it. The parabolic is an indicator that is described as the parabolic SAR, stop and reverse. And when the parabolic is below the most recent bar, it's indicating it still have an uptrend. And if it were to give us a reversal, we would get a parabolic shifting to being above the bar. But we don't have that here. We just had one little whipsaw in this instance here. So we still have a nice uptrend. I mean, with all the hullabaloo, with all the mishmash, with all the politics, with all the stimulus discussion, with all the interest rate discussions, with everything else, we still have an uptrend on the weekly chart. And remember, if we listen to some of the sage comments by Alex Elder, we should not look at a daily chart before we look at a weekly chart. And that is because we make strategic decisions on the weekly chart. That's answering the question, should we be owning this market or this stock, as the case may be? And on the daily chart, we make our tactical decisions. Is this a good time to buy or to own the stock? Is to be buying or selling the stock or holding the stock? And so in this case, we have a weekly chart that still looks very bullish. If we go down to some of the other indicators here, we can see that the ADX is still bullish, although the fact that the histogram descended a bit here simply states that the trend, we kind of lost momentum in the trend in this instance, but we never really turned to a downtrend because we didn't get a new movement up in the histogram, and we didn't get the red line DMI minus above the DI plus. So we still have an uptrend, and we can expect the ADX, this histogram, to start trending up again if all stays the same. Now, insofar as the sum of the rate of change indicator is concerned, this one here, you could see that since it crossed above back here in June of last year, crossed above that 4% line, it remained there. So it supports the notion of an uptrend. Now, if we go down to MACD histogram, we can see that on the weekly chart, if you will recall, we had this bearish divergence of MACD. That led to this weakening here where we began to see some red histogram bars, and we didn't really drop that much, but we got some weakening, if you want to put it that way. But if we go down to the 1939 MACD histogram, we never got a sell signal. And remember, this is the one from which we take sell signals. This is the one where we take buy signals. So all in all, we have an uptrend, and we can go now to the daily chart. So here's a daily chart of the S&P 500. On Thursday, when I noticed this development here, I sent you a copy of this chart, an attachment of this chart, and I explained that we have this magenta line here, which is the volume weighted average price or moving average, the 50-day volume weighted moving average of the S&P, of the daily chart, of the S&P on the daily chart. So what I noticed was, and this is why I sent it to you, was that way back here in January, we found support. The S&P found support at that volume weighted moving average, and back again, and then again we found that's the first arrow. The second arrow was on February 26th when we came down from the 2 standard deviation line and we found support again right here. Then we rallied a bit, came back down, and although we went below the magenta line, the volume weighted moving average 50-day, we found support here again because the next bar was a very bullish hammer. And so we found support here again. And when I saw that, and I looked at where we were last Thursday, I said, but wait a minute, it looks as though we're finding support here again. And then on Friday, this is what resulted, this nice bullish bar. We actually gapped up on Friday. And notice what I mentioned before. I've heard a very wise investor say that technical analysts say that if Friday closes higher than it opens, which is what it did here, it opened here and closed here, Monday should be a follow-through day. We should get a bullish day on Monday. We'll see how that materializes. A week ago, that's exactly what happened when I mentioned it. So this looks encouraging from a bullish standpoint. All right. So if we go down to the other indicators, we'll see that on the ADX. Oh, before we go there, you could see that parabolic switched to being below the bar on Friday. So we now have a switch to an uptrend on the daily chart. And we're not quite at this 2 standard deviation line. So we have a good 30 or 40 points before we get on the S&P, before we get to this level here, which would be about 4,012 on the S&P on the daily chart. So if we go down now to the other indicators, ADX is still looking somewhat bearish, but we can see that the DI plus has now turned up significantly, and it is likely that we will find a follow through here, which gives us an uptrend on this ADX. Now, some of the rate of change indicator broke above the 4% line, so that supports the uptrend. And if we go to MACD histogram, the one which we take sell signals from, first of all, this one, we can see that we started trending up. Although we had a sell signal here, we are now trending up on the histogram anyway. We don't have a buy signal here yet, but it's pretty close because it's just at 0.15, which is a buy signal, I'm sorry. We just don't see the histogram because of the chart. So we just can't see. Yeah, you see, if I blew the chart up, you could see that we did get a buy signal, just barely so, on the MACD histogram where we take buy signals. So we did get a buy signal. It's very small. It's 0.15, but it's still a buy signal. Okay, so that's insofar as the regular charts that we look at. Let's look at Jake Bernstein's chart. Here's a weekly chart on one of the charts that I learned from Jake Bernstein, and I believe I have the interpretations correct. You can notice that if on the weekly chart, what Jake Bernstein proposes is that you want to buy at the bottom of the channel. This is the moving average channel. This is would be a 10-week moving average of the highs. This would be an 8-week moving average of the lows. And what he suggests is the conservative buy signal is one that you get at the bottom of the channel here, or within the channel at least. So you got a buy signal here, you got another buy signal here. And remember, this is exactly where we had the support at the 50-day volume weighted moving average. So it's consistent with that. And now again, we're getting another buy signal here on the daily chart. We'll see that later. But in other words, Jake Bernstein's chart kept us in the trend all along. It never gave us a sell signal. Let's move to the daily chart. On the daily chart, we still didn't get a sell signal on Jake Bernstein's chart. What we are getting now is the stochastic, although he doesn't use stochastic. What we're getting here is a stochastic is giving us a turnaround, a buy signal in a sense, right? And Jake Bernstein's chart never gave us a sell signal. This is that bar on Thursday, which gave us support at the volume weighted moving average of the 50-day moving average, right? And so it looks pretty bullish. And the accumulation distribution line remain above the 57-day moving average. So the stocks are being accumulated. It's called an accumulation distribution line. Momentum seems to be ticking up again. So enough on the general market. We'll take a look at some other charts and then we'll go on to some individual stocks. Generally, the market looks bullish. The weekly chart is bullish, and both the weekly and the daily charts are looking pretty bullish. Let's move on. So we take a look now at the sector analysis. Okay, so for example, if you go to this site here, select sector spiders, you can get an icon that looks like this to be put on your desktop, and all you have to do is then just click on that and this comes up. This is a very useful chart to look at, page, if you wish. First of all, it tells you what stocks have done on Friday, what sectors have performed on Friday best, right? You can see XLK because technology improved, real estate, materials, energy still doing pretty well. But if you wanted to see how did they perform for the last 3 months, you can click on 3 months and you'll get XLE perform best for the last, and then financials. Now I am rotating these sectors, so I own XLE and XLF, and every week I update to see which ones are performing well over the past 3 months. So I will drop one and add one, and etc. So I'll do 2 or 3 of them. In addition to that, look at this page here on the right-hand side. This gives you the best performing stocks, and it tells you what sector these stocks belong to, and it tells you what changes it's made over that period of time. In this case, 3 months. Marathon Oil has been up 67% in 3 months. L Brands, which is a retailer, right, up 58%, etc. So this is a very useful page. I think it would be well worth it to put this on your desktop and refer to it from time to time. So let's go to something else. Now here's some charts from stockcharts.com. We usually look at these. This is a chart of Apple. It's a daily chart. You can see that we made a low here, and it appeared to me that we didn't quite do it, but seemed to be approaching a double low. In fact, I thought of this as a double bottom, not a double low, a double bottom, and it appears I do own Apple again, and I'm looking, hoping, and waiting for it to begin to rise again, because it's been in the doldrums for a while. Some of these big tech stocks like Microsoft and Apple. In any case, this is what it looks like. You're getting a bit of a hammer here. Let's go to another chart. This is the new high, new low index. You can see that it dropped all the way down, but ticked up a little bit on Friday. So this is a daily chart. If we look at a weekly, on the weekly chart, where is it? Come on. Not allowed. not, not allowed. Why is that? Oh boy. Okay, so the next chart we look at is the SPX. On the S&P is the impulse chart. So you can see the bars are painted green, blue, or red, and we now have a green bar printed on Friday. So whereas we had a red bar here, on Friday we took a nice jump. So that's what we looked at earlier anyway. The McClellan oscillator is trending up once more, although it did take a nice drop here. And the chart of the percentage of stocks of the S&P 100 above their 200-day moving average continues to rise. So if we look at the weekly chart of the stocks above their 200-day moving average, we can see that this still looks pretty bullish. Let's go to market timers, which is best choice. We still have this seasonal chart on the SPY, which is the S&P, right? From March 7 to April 10. Now we did get a bit of a flattening of that recently, but it looks as though April typically is better than March. March seems to be pretty flat, but April seems to be a pretty nice month for this trend, and this seasonal play. So let's go now to Shaken. On Shaken Analytics, I did the usual. Let me first comment that last weekend I could not find very many stocks that were oversold. So in a buy zone, in other words, right? This weekend is just the opposite. I'm finding lots of stocks that are oversold. So what I usually do on a weekend is go to my major watch list, this one, and I'll look at every one of these stocks and see if they're oversold, okay? And then I'll put them on a new list, which is what I did here. Put them on a new list for possible trades on Monday, okay? So this is that list that we have here now. So I'll go through some of them or many of them. We are allowed a lot more than 15 minutes now I found a way to give us more than 15 minutes on this software. So you can see that Alcor hit the 21-day average, and now it's trended up again. So we are oversold. So I own Alcor again. ADM, Archer Daniel Midlands, coming off the 21-day, it's oversold. I bought that one again. I own the top 3 or 4 of them here. ADS, the Alliance Data, you can see all green here, optimal, oversold, ticking up, bounced off the 21-day average. Applied Materials is overbought, but I still hold it. I bought it off the 21-day average. So this one is not oversold, but I'm still holding it. I like the relative strength here, and it's one of those semiconductor related plays, right? EVR, Evercore Capital Markets, that's now looking to be oversold at the 21-day. So I don't own that one. GE, I'll just go through many of these. By the way, you could always take a picture or take a note of stop the video and take a note of all of these. But I just want to show you what the charts look like. You can see that GE has been oversold for a little while, and now it seems to be ticking up a bit off the 21-day, and it's got this oversold signal here. Google is oversold, I believe. Yeah, Google is oversold. LAD, which is auto retailer, I think, specialty retailer, is bumping off the 200-day average, and it's becoming oversold. LDL is oversold. I don't like the fact that money flow has been so weak here, but it seems to want to bump off the 200-day average. MKSI, I traded it a couple of times. It's not one of my favorites because there's too much of this volatility here, this whipsaws. But I do own Quanta Services again. You can see it's all green on the checklist, and it's now oversold. So I did buy it recently again off the 21-day average. RCII is one that this is Rent-A-Center, one that Mark Shakin himself likes. He did talk about this in one of his webinars, and it's becoming oversold, but I don't own it. I would keep an eye on it. I want to probably take a stab at it. This is one that I'm not familiar with, but it's one of these metal mining stocks. But you can see that it's coming off the 21-day average, has a nice checklist. It's oversold at this time, so it's an interesting looking one. WDC, you can see that there are a lot of these stocks that are now oversold. Couldn't find them last week. WDC isn't quite oversold. I don't like this, but it seems to want to rally off the 21-day. Ally is looking better. It's oversold right now and is bumping off the 21-day. Chubb, the insurance company, is once again oversold, but the money flow has been weak. It seems to want to bump off of the 200-day. This City Trends, which is another retailer, it's not quite oversold yet, but it seems to be bumping off the 21-day. See, we have quite a few that are rated. I usually want to buy the stocks that are rated bullish or very bullish, and we have a number of them here. Dell is oversold again and bumped off the 21-day on Friday, and you can see it's all green on the checklist. DFS is oversold, and you can see it's bumping off the 21-day and the 200-day. We used to trade this FTNT, Fortinet, and it's now oversold again. And look at this nice day it had on Friday. It was up 6%. Generac, I traded it. I don't own it right now because I got stopped out somewhere here. But it seems to want to bump off of this 221-day average. HRI, it's oversold. I'm not familiar with the company. It's a trading company, retailer, I guess. Seems to want to bump off the 21-day average. Very nice money flow, and so it looks interesting. HTH, which is Hilltop Holding, a bank, very oversold, and everything else looks pretty good and all green on the checklist. Seems to want to trend up off the 21-day. This is International Paper. It was oversold and ticking up. Optimal, bumping off the 21-day average. iPay, which is the payment systems, not quite oversold yet, but looks interesting. IWM, which is the Russell 2000, almost oversold and looks to be bumping off the 200-day. MLM, which is Martin Marietta, construction materials, almost oversold here and look to be bumping off these support levels here, 221-day. This one, Mark Shakin likes it. It's oversold and it seems to want to bump off the 21-day. I've owned this one again, Signet Jewelers. It's oversold and money flow is still positive, and it seems to bumping off on Friday it bumped off the 21-day average. And WD Walker Dunlop, this is a thrift and mortgage finance company, not quite oversold, but it's in that region, and it's looking to bump off the 21-day average. Well, folks, I think that's all the time we have, at least that I'll send you an email. I have some notes on Barron's Those of you who get emails will get the notes on barons and what barons charts looks like. Okay, so I hope this is useful, and we'll try and do it again next week. I don't do it every week, and that's my phone, so I'll say goodbye.